Joining me now is Communications Coordinator for Concerned Women for America, Janae Stracke. Janae, hi, how are you?
Hi, Liz. I'm great.
All right, Janae, let's get right to this question of the day. I mentioned it in the introduction, and I guess the crux of this segment is asking, Planned Parenthood's 100-year birthday was this past weekend. You know, we saw that video. We didn't hear the word abortion mentioned in it a single time. Janae, would their founder, Margaret Sanger, would she be proud of what Planned Parenthood has become?
Unfortunately and sadly, yes, I believe she would be, because they are the result of everything she hoped to be. You know, you mentioned that she's a eugenicist. She wanted to control the population to what she deemed to be worthy. So if you were uneducated or poor, or if you had the wrong skin color, whatever she deemed to be the weeds of the earth, she wanted to eliminate, and we're seeing that today. You know, in New York alone, we have statistics that show more black babies were aborted than were born. It's heartbreaking, and we have to recognize this for what it is. It's a human rights issue. It's not about women's care. Planned Parenthood is the nation's largest abortion provider, and they've been building this financial enterprise for 100 years now and are doing quite well, if I do say so. You know, even though abortion rates are down in America, Planned Parenthood's own revenue or abortion is up by 30% in the last 15 years. So they're doing very well for themselves, despite the fact that abortion numbers have been going down in America.
Right, and that's not even to mention the taxpayer money that they get, but that's a different topic. Janae, one of the quotes from Margaret Sanger that shocks me the most, that I think should shock everyone the most, this is what she says: "The most merciful thing a large family does to one of its infant members is to kill it." That's not just abortion, that's actually killing an infant, a live infant, because there are so many children. I mean, I come from a family of 5. That's considered a large family in our culture, and that just shocks me to my core.
I 100% agree. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. And myself, coming from a family of 6, I understand people are surprised at that. And, you know, my birthday is actually tomorrow. My older sisters were about 3 years apart, and I came a little bit earlier than I think my parents had expected. And what Planned Parenthood would have suggested to my mom was to just abort me because it was inconvenient, it wasn't the right time, or maybe their family was already too large. It was all about convenience. So even though my birthday was tomorrow, today, my mom could have aborted me, because Planned Parenthood believes that abortion should be available anywhere at any time for any reason. So even though I was completely healthy, and here I am, a tax-paying citizen who is now, my money is actually going to that very organization that would have advised my mother to have me aborted.
Right, and I'm glad you spoke to the convenience thing. I was reading stuff about Planned Parenthood's 100-year birthday yesterday, and I read an article about celebrities whose parents were recommended to abort their child, or who considered aborting their child and then didn't. And Celine Dion, too, similar to your circumstance, she was the youngest out of 14. Celine Dion, one of the most famous singers in the world, just a remarkable talent. Her mother considered aborting her because she was the 14th child and she really didn't want to have another baby, you know, but she didn't. And look at what a gift to the whole world she is. But back to Planned Parenthood themselves just for a second, Janae. They claim that only 3% of their services are abortions. They actually say that only 1 in every 33 patients that walk into their clinics has an abortion. But if you look at the numbers, that's not quite the case.
No, it's not. And, you know, that's just a game that they're playing with numbers and twisting their numbers to make them sound good. You know, they're counting up each service that they provide, which could be something just as taking a pregnancy test. But the fact is that any woman that walks into Planned Parenthood is 15 times more likely to have an abortion. And 1 in 10 of all of their patients do have an abortion. It's about over 90% of their revenue, and that is their moneymaker, which is why
even though they claim that the bulk of their services are about women's health, preventative medicine, cancer screenings, birth control, when you actually look at the numbers, less than 2% of Pap tests and breast exams in our whole nation are performed by Planned Parenthood, yet Planned Parenthood performs 30% of all abortions in our nation. So I guess we can just see by looking at the facts here, rhetoric aside, what the bulk of their business is. But Janae, let me switch topics just for a second. This is the legal aspect of it. So last year, or earlier this year, I should say, we saw David Daleiden with the Center for Medical Progress. He exposed Planned Parenthood's harvesting business, where they would harvest the body parts of aborted babies and sell them to fetal tissue companies, which is against the law. He's the one that's been targeted legally until this week. This week, the district attorney in Orange County filed a suit against Da Vinci Biosciences and DV Biologics for illegally profiting from these aborted baby body parts. Tell us what you know about this.
Well, they're uncovering what we've known all along. We're uncovering what Planned Parenthood doesn't want the public to know. They don't want them to know that their bottom line is all about money. It's not about the woman or their care. It's about abortion, so they can make money off that. But that wasn't enough for them. They also are going to make money off the aborted baby. They're selling those baby body parts, which is illegal. And when those videos came out, they wanted to cover it up, and they wanted, more than anything, for it to just go away. So they tried to smear it and say, oh, they're edited, it's untrue, and of course there were legal allegations against David Daleiden, but now we're starting to see the other side of that, and I'm thrilled that the truth continues to emerge, because it's what most of us have known all along, and I believe that the general public needs to know this and know that it's not just a campaign smear ad, that this is really happening. And guess what? Your money is paying for it. Your tax dollars are going to an organization whose CEO now makes $1 million, whose travel budget is $14,000 a day. This organization's revenue is in the billions, and yet they're still getting $500 million of my dollars, of your dollars. And that is what the American people should be outraged about. This is what your money's paying for.
Right, and now's the perfect time to be talking about this too, because with this election in just 2 weeks and 1 day from now, Hillary Clinton wants to roll back the only protection that we have left against our money funding abortion directly. She wants to repeal the Hyde Amendment, which would allow everything that we earn, everything the government takes out of our paycheck, that could be used directly to fund abortions. It's shocking. A fitting legacy, like we said at the beginning, of Margaret Sanger for Planned Parenthood. Janae, we're out of time, but thank you so much for being here. All right, guys, we'd like to know your thoughts on the matter too. Tweet me at Liz_Wheeler, and we'll be back in 1 minute.